Hey, everybody, it's Corey. Thanks for joining me. So, why are Americans moving to the top 10 most moved states? That we are going to answer. In case you missed it, we identified the top 10 states Americans moved to in 2022. We also identified the top 10 states Americans are fleeing from in 2022. Both of those videos are linked in the description below. Now, let's get into the first video by asking a question. Over the last decade, 75% of all population growth in the United States happened in this part of the country. What part of the country is it? It's the Sun Belt. 15 states at the bottom third of the United States had 75% of all the population growth in the United States. Here's a map showing the top 10 states Americans are moving to. If we let Captain Obvious speak, he is telling us 9 out of the top 10 states are Sun Belt states. Let's take a look at them. Number 1 was Florida. Number 2 was Texas. Number 3, North Carolina. Number 4, South Carolina. Number 5 was Tennessee. Number 6 was Georgia. Number 7 was Arizona. Number 8 was Idaho. Number 9 was Alabama. And number 10 was Oklahoma. Idaho is the only outlier, and why that is will be the topic of a future series of videos. For now, I think it is important to identify why the Sun Belt states are so popular. In answering why people are moving to certain states, look no further than investment management firms to answer those questions. Investment money identifies and follows growth potential. Retail, commercial, industrial, and real estate investors do extensive research to identify growth potential. Investment money loves the Sun Belt. Here's why. In this report from Clarion Partners, which is one of the most cited research firms in the real estate investment arena, they cite that the Sun Belt is a boon for investors. They say that 50% of the U.S. population lives in this one-third of the country. And as we said before, over the past decade, 75% of the total U.S. population growth was in the Sun Belt. 50% of all jobs are in this region. 50% of all millennials live in this region. 50% of all seniors age 65 and older live in this region. And more than 50% of the purpose-built senior housing is located in this region. Another thing about the Sun Belt is that its tourism draws interest to the region, keeping it top of the mind for people that want to move there. Now, the median home and rent prices are traditionally lower than the gateway states on either side of the country. But relative affordability is becoming more of a challenge with growth and competition for housing. And they also say in this report that all ages are drawn to the area more and more for its business-friendly environment, lower cost of living, quality of life, and mild climate. The report also identifies that over the next decade, the Sun Belt is projected to grow more than 13%, whereas the rest of the country is projected to grow only 2%. In a separate report from a different investment management company, Realty, they identify why they invest in the Sun Belt states, and they said that aside from affordability and steady economic growth, warmer weather is a major factor when moving to and investing in the Sun Belt state. The Wall Street Journal suggests that there's a blue state exodus, and it's continuing even past the pandemic. And they call it a new migration trend. And they said in the article that one new trend is the migration from the Pacific Northwest. One possible culprit is the spiraling public disorder in cities such as Seattle, Portland, and Denver. Most Americans, regardless of their politics, don't want to live, let alone raise children, where homeless people camp on the sidewalk and the whiff of skunk weed is impossible to escape. They also said in this article the population shift from the states in the Northeast and Midwest to Sunbelt states has been happening for decades, but it is accelerated amid governmental lockdowns and the shift to remote work. Many who lived in metro areas such as San Francisco's Bay Area and New York City moved to places with lower cost of living such as Phoenix, Dallas, Nashville, and Orlando. Of the 10 states that were most popular in 2022 to move to, only 2 of them, Arizona and Georgia, are what we call swing states. They're either Republican run or Democrat run, depending on how they vote. And as you can see here from the 2020 U.S. election results, of the 10 states that people are moving to, only 2 of them are even swing states. The rest of them are all solid red conservative states. Stephen Moore, an economist, wrote an article and did a video titled, "Where Do You Want to Live? Red State or Blue State?" In this article, he identifies the reason people are leaving blue states. They're leaving blue states because of liberal big government, high taxes, heavy regulations, high minimum wages, and mandatory union membership. On the flip side, he said people are going to the red states because they favor conservative small government, free market policies, lower taxes, lighter regulation, tough on crime policing, and worker freedom. In a different report, this one in Stand for America, which is a newsletter from Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina. Again, I'm not endorsing her or not endorsing her. I'm simply pointing out an article that she wrote, and I thought she did a wonderful job of characterizing why people are leaving the blue states. In that article, she identified that Americans are fleeing blue states because they are unaffordable, unsafe, and unhappy. When we try to identify why people are moving to red states, this is what we're going to be looking in the series ahead. Each of these criteria, housing affordability, tax burden, cost of living, economic stability, crime stats, population density, weather, and governmental philosophy, each of these 8 categories we will be looking at one video at a time. So we will be looking at why people are moving to these 10 most moved to states, and we will be comparing each of these states as it relates to their housing affordability. We'll rank them. We'll also look and see which of these 10 states have the best overall tax burden. We'll look at the 10 states and compare their cost of living and rank them. We will look at their economic stability and job growth and rank them. We will look at the crime stats for each of the 10 most popular move states, and we'll identify which of them are the safest and which of them are not. We'll also look at population density. We'll look at the weather, and we'll look at which of those states are the most conservative. So there you have it. Those 8 categories are the 8 reasons people are moving to the most popular states. And we're going to take each one of those categories and we're going to do a video and compare each of the states in those categories. It's going to be a knockdown, drag out fight because we're going to rank each state in those categories. So the next time you're at the water cooler and your buddy tells you he's moving to Tennessee because it has better taxes than Texas, you can pull up these videos. Or better yet, the next time you're talking to your neighbor and he tells you he's moving to Florida because it has better weather than Idaho, you might want to just let him be on that one. But if he tells you he's moving to Florida because it's more conservative than Idaho, you're going to want to pull up these videos. So there you have it. Next video is going to be which of these states has the most affordable housing. It's going to be fun. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you won't miss it. Bye now.